The manila envelope arrived on a Tuesday, 3 months after my father's funeral. No return address, just my name, * Maya Chen. Architect * Crichton in his unmistakable angular script. Inside, a single blueprint, yellowed at the edges, smelling of his studio, turpentine, and coffee. I spread it across my kitchen table, my hands trembling. The design was magnificent, a skyscraper that seemed to defy physics, its spiraling structure like DNA strands reaching toward heaven. In the corner, Dad's signature, dated 2 weeks before his fatal heart attack. But something was wrong. Lines intersected at impossible angles. Measurements didn't add up. Notations appeared in a code I'd never seen. Then the blueprint moved not much, just a subtle shift, like breath under paper. A new line appeared in blue ink, drawing itself across the page, connecting to points I hadn't noticed before. My coffee mug crashed to the floor. Maya. His voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Finally, I've been trying to reach you. I should have screamed, should have run. Instead, I whispered, Dad. The Chen Tower, he said, and the blueprint glowed faintly. It's not finished, and there are people who will kill to keep it that way. My father, Michael Chen, had been a legend in architectural circles, the man who designed Singapore's skyline, who turned Dubai's desert into a vertical garden, who made buildings that seemed to breathe. His death had been sudden, ruled natural causes despite his perfect health. The firm he'd built over 30 years, Chen and Associates, had been seized by his business partner, Richard Mallory, citing some obscure clause in their contract. I'd been too grief-stricken to fight. Fresh out of graduate school, what did I know about corporate law? But now, staring at this impossible blueprint, I understood. Dad hadn't died of natural causes, and this tower, whatever it was, held the key to everything. What is this building? I asked the empty air. The blueprint shifted again, revealing hidden layers. Beneath the tower's design lay another structure network of tunnels, vaults, and what looked like server rooms. The Chen Tower is a data fortress, Dad's voice explained. I discovered Mallory was using our firm as a front. Money laundering, industrial espionage, stolen patents worth billions. I built this tower as evidence every beam. Every column contains encrypted proof of his crimes. Then why not just go to the police? He has judges, prosecutors, politicians in his pocket. The only way to expose him is to finish the building. The construction process itself will reveal the evidence, inspection reports, material orders, everything documented and public. But the design is coded. Only a Chen can decode it. A chill ran down my spine. Only you, Maya. You have to finish what I started. And you have to do it before Mallory realizes what you're doing. The next morning, I walked into Chen and Associates for the first time since the funeral. The glass and steel lobby still bore Dad's aesthetic clean lines, natural light, impossible geometry. But it felt corrupted now, like a beautiful face hiding rot beneath. Mallory's secretary tried to stop me. I brushed past her blueprint tube under my arm and kicked open his office door. Richard Mallory looked up from his desk, his practiced smile faltering. 50-something, silver hair, expensive suit, the picture of architectural respectability. Maya, what a surprise! I found Dad's last project. I unrolled the blueprint across his desk, the Chen Tower. I'm going to finish it. His eyes widened almost imperceptibly. That old thing, Maya, your father abandoned that design years ago. It's structurally unsound. Funny, the calculations look perfect to me. Architecture isn't just about calculations. It's about experience, judgment, things you're still learning. He stood, moving around the desk with calculated concern. Your father's death was hard on all of us. Perhaps you need more time to grieve before making career decisions. I don't need time. I need the firm's resources. Dad's will specify that his projects pass to his heirs. This is mine. Mallory's mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something cold beneath. That will is being contested. Until probate clears, I'm afraid I can't authorize company resources for personal projects. Then I'll build it independently. I just wanted to give you the courtesy of knowing first. I rolled up the blueprint. After all, Dad would have wanted the firm to share in the glory of his final masterpiece. As I walked out, I felt Dad's presence like a warm hand on my shoulder. Well done, he whispered. Now the real work begins. I rented a shabby office in Chinatown, above a dumpling shop that made the whole building smell like ginger and pork. With my meager savings, I hired 2 people. Lin Wei, a structural engineer Dad had mentored, and Tom Rodriguez, a contractor who worked on Dad's early projects and still remembered when integrity mattered more than profit margins. When I showed them the blueprint, Lynn's eyes went wide. This is revolutionary. The load distribution alone would change everything we know about high-rise construction. But these notations, she traced a series of symbols along the foundation lines. What language is this? It's not a language, Dad's voice said in my ear. Only mine. He could only speak to me. It's a cipher. Tell her to measure the angles between the support columns. I relayed his instructions. Lynn pulled out her calculator, working quickly. 33 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees. These are coordinates. GPS coordinates, Dad confirmed. To the locations of Mallory's hidden accounts, his blackmail files, his proof of patent theft, but they only reveal themselves when the building reaches certain stages of construction. Over the next weeks, the blueprint became our obsession and our oracle. Each night, new details would appear. Dad's ghostly hand, adding notes, corrections, specifications. He guided me through zoning board meetings, teaching me which officials could be trusted and which were Mallory's creatures. He helped me navigate building codes, finding loopholes and exceptions that made our impossible design possible. But his presence was fading. Each communication left him weaker, his voice more distant. "How long can you stay?" I asked one night, alone in the office. "Long enough," he said. "If we're fast enough." We broke ground on a Tuesday, 6 months after that first blueprint arrived. A small lot in the financial district, purchased through a shell company Dad had established years ago, planning for this contingency even then. Mallory didn't know. Not yet, but he would soon. The foundation work revealed the first coordinates hidden in the concrete mix specifications. Lynn and Tom thought I was a genius for encoding them there. They didn't know I was just translating Dad's whispers. The coordinates led to a safety deposit box in Singapore. Inside, documents proving Mallory had stolen designs from a dozen architects, passing them off as his own. Evidence of bribes paid to building inspectors who'd overlooked dangerous shortcuts. Bank statements showing money flowing through Chen and associates from Russian oligarchs, Chinese officials, Mexican cartels. But I couldn't release it yet. "It's not enough," Dad explained. "Without the full picture, his lawyers will dismantle it piece by piece. We need everything, and it's encoded in the building." The Chen Tower rose like a prayer, like an accusation, like hope made steel and glass. Each floor revealed more secrets. The electrical system contained metadata from stolen files. The plumbing blueprints, when overlaid correctly, formed ledger sheets. The window placement, viewed from above, spelled out account numbers in binary. My father had been a genius, but more than that, he'd been patient planning this exposure for years, building his case one blueprint at a time. Mallory noticed. Of course, first came the lawsuits, cease and desist orders, claims of copyright infringement. When those failed, the harassment escalated. Inspectors found violations that didn't exist. Suppliers mysteriously canceled orders. Tom's truck was vandalized. Lynn received threatening calls. "He's getting desperate," Dad said. His voice was barely a whisper now, flickering like a candle in wind. "That means we're close." "How close?" I didn't ask. Didn't want to know when I'd lose him again. The break-in happened on floor 37. I was working late, reviewing the next day's concrete pour, when I heard footsteps on the unfinished stairs, not construction boots, dress shoes, clicking against bare concrete. 3 men in suits emerged from the stairwell. The one in front held a gun almost apologetically. "Miss Chen. Mr. Mallory would like a word." They escorted me to the 38th floor, just steel beams and empty air, the city glittering below like scattered diamonds. Mallory stood at the edge, looking out over the skyline. "Your father was brilliant," he said without turning. "Did you know I genuinely admired him? That's why I partnered with him? But Michael couldn't leave well enough alone. He discovered my side businesses and threatened to expose everything. Do you know what it's like, watching your life's work threatened by someone's moral posturing? He wasn't posturing. You're a criminal." Mallory finally looked at me. "I'm a businessman. The world runs on money, Maya, not ethics. Your father never understood that. He thought buildings were about beauty, about pushing boundaries. He didn't grasp that they're about power. Is that why you killed him?" He didn't deny it. "A small amount of ricin in his coffee mimics heart attack symptoms perfectly." By the time anyone thought to question it, the evidence was cremated along with his body. He gestured to the city below. "I gave him a beautiful funeral. Very expensive." Rage flooded through me, hot and pure. But before I could move, could speak, the blueprint in my messenger bag began to glow. Not just glow burn, bright blue lights spilling out like liquid. Dad's voice filled the air, audible to everyone now. "You always were a talker, Richard. Thank you for the confession." The construction site's security cameras swiveled in unison, their red recording lights suddenly blazing. Above us, a drone I hadn't noticed descended, its camera focusing on Mallory's shocked face. "What?" Mallory spun, looking for the source of the voice. "You killed me for money." Dad's voice boomed from everywhere, from the steel beams, the concrete, the very structure of the tower. "You stole from artists, extorted builders, endangered lives by cutting corners. But you made one mistake, Richard. You forgot that I designed buildings to last. To remember, to testify, the Chen Tower came alive. On every floor, screens we'd installed for construction, visualization flickered to life, displaying documents, photos, recordings. Every crime Mallory had committed, every bribe paid, every life destroyed, all of it projected across the building's skin like a confession written in light. And the city could see, from every angle, every street, every neighboring building, the evidence blazed. Mallory's gun-wielding companion dropped his weapon. The other two backed toward the stairs. Mallory himself stood frozen, watching his empire crumble in real time. "The police are on their way," I said quietly, "along with the FBI, the SEC, and about 24 journalists. You can run if you want. You won't get far." He looked at me then, really looked at me for the first time. "He raised you well," he said finally. "I hate that." The police arrived in minutes. Later I learned that Dad had connected the Tower S systems to a Deadman S switch. If anything happened to me, everything would be released automatically. The evidence had been gathering for months, corroborated by investigators Dad had hired with funds Mallory didn't know existed. My father had built a trap 38 stories high, and Mallory had walked right in. The Chen Tower was completed 6 months later. By then, Mallory was awaiting trial on 43 counts of fraud, conspiracy, and murder. Chen and Associates had been returned to me, rebuilt with architects and engineers who believed buildings should elevate humanity, not exploit it. The tower became famous not just for its revolutionary design, but for what it represented. Justice built into every beam, integrity coded into every blueprint, Dad's final masterpiece. But he wasn't there to see it finished. His voice had faded during Mallory's confession, growing fainter each day after dot. By the time we installed the final window, I couldn't hear him anymore. The blueprint no longer moved. The ghostly guidance had ceased. I stood alone on the completed observation deck, looking out over the city Dad had helped build, and I cried. Not from grief this time, but from gratitude. He'd stayed long enough. Long enough to see me through. Long enough to ensure justice. Long enough to teach me that architecture isn't just about buildings, it's about what we build into the world. The Chen Tower stands today as the headquarters of Chen and Associates, renamed Chen Legacy. Every architect who trains there learns Dad's philosophy that buildings remember, that design can reveal truth, and that sometimes the strongest foundation is the bond between parent and child. Sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone in my office, I swear I can smell turpentine and coffee. I'll find a blueprint I don't remember drawing with notations in that familiar, angular script. New designs, new possibilities, new ways to build something better. Maybe he's still here, in the bones of the building. Or maybe he's just in me, his lessons, his integrity, his belief that we can build the world we want to see. Either way, I'm not building alone. I never was.